how to leverage your business to take care of all your everyday expenses.
Okay, so there's something called the power of a corporation. When you register a business in the eyes of the law, that business is a different entity than you that owns the business. So the business now employs you, even though you are the owner of the business. Now, according to the law of taxation and the law of capitalism, you don't pay taxes except you have made profit. So you pay taxes on your profits, not on your income. Because in a corporation, there's what we call overhead. There's what we call running costs. Now, you as the owner of the business, you are the one that determines what your overhead or your running costs will be. So if you start a business, whatever money you make, the law expects that everything it costs you to run the business and everything it costs you to make that money should be deducted. And whatever is left is what you will pay taxes on. So when you own a business, instead of you owning things, let your business be the owner of the things. So the car you are driving should not be in your name. The car should belong to the business. So your business will be the one that will buy the car, be paying the insurance, paying the car note, and you are the one using the car. So it's an official tool for your business. Instead of you going to rent an office somewhere, take one room in your house, take your garage, convert it to an office. That becomes your office. That business is supposed to pay rent. So that rent that your business is paying for that one room can be your mortgage every month. So that means you are having the rest of your house for free. Your son or your daughter can finish school and come work in that business 2 hours a day to arrange files, to clean, to dust, and you pay them as a casual staff or ad hoc staff or contract staff and that month. Now, when you are going out every Sunday as a family to go and eat in a restaurant, that can be called a business expenses because you are now going out together as the owners of the business to discuss. So every Sunday you have a stakeholders management meeting to discuss. All your clothes and your shoes can be bought by the business because they are the costume that you are using to run the business, because you have to be presentable to make money. So by the time you do all that, almost everything you are spending money on, you will deduct from the business. And at the end of the day, if you are traveling for summer vacation, the business will pay, because we are going on vacation. We have labored. We are now going to rest so that we can be. So that vacation will be called a retreat. So you went for a retreat to go and plan and rejuvenate. The business will pay. That's how rich people. So at the end of the day, there's no profit. So you are not paying any tax. And it is legal. It's not illegal. It's legal. That's what rich people do. Hello? Thank you.
How can you leverage your job to build a business?
Okay, so whatever you do, you need to save. One of the benefits of salary is predictability. So you have predictable income. So you can have predictable savings. So you need to save a minimum of 10 to 20% of your income. That can help you build something that you can now use to be able to start your business. Then all the experiences you are getting, listen to what I'm about to say now. The experiences you are getting, the contacts you are getting are all part of the things that you will need for your business. So every time you are working in a place, network strategically. Get to know people. Get their numbers. Stay in touch with them, because they may become your customers your investors, your advisors, your referrals tomorrow. So if you live in a community, get involved in the community. If your children are in a school, get involved in your children's school. Join the PTA, join Rotary, join chaplaincy, join all, so that you know a lot of people. Now, because you are working in an organization, when you are knowing them based on the credibility of that organization. And if you have known them for 2 to 5 years and they have seen consistency in the relationship, by the time you are starting your own business, even though your business does not have any credibility, the credibility of the fact that they've known you for 5 years is what they will use to rate your business that you are starting, and they will support you. So one of the things that you need to understand is leveraging what you have now to get to where you need to get to. And you need to be strategic and intentional about it.
So just a follow-up on that. We have a follow-up on that.
Okay, on that, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, you have a question. Okay, we're coming to you.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you. I'm the one who wrote that question. So just a follow-up on business expenses. If you're trying to separate your personal assets, for instance, but you want the business to shoulder the expenses. So how do you go about that? Like, for instance, you can't necessarily buy a house under the company name. My business is risky. So you can be sued at any time. So I don't want to have my house be part of the, if I get sued or anything like that. So how do you leverage your personal assets, but yet get the business to cover the expenses?
I understand your question, but it's not the question. That's consultancy. Yeah, so you need to pay for that. Thank you. So now let me say this. Everything we are saying here, we are speaking theory. So you need to get professionals to now do the. So you need a lawyer. You need, I don't know whether you guys have CPA, auditor, stars, consultant, financial. So you need to have those people on your. So if you get the book, all these things are there. All the people you need. You need a mentor. You need a spiritual covering. You need a lawyer. All the people you need to work all these things are there in the book. So, and you already have the book. So read it. You see. So I'm here now. I'm wearing 2 caps now. Pastor Olumide Emmanuel is different from Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. So Pastor Olumide Emmanuel can counsel you on spiritual matter. Doctor does not do free things. He charges. So when they told me to come, and I said, look, you know what, you guys are my children. I'm going to come, but you know that. I told them, I said, look, are they going to pay? I can't be jumping around. If I stay in my business, I know how much I'm going to make. I do $10,000 for every speaking engagement. So why will I come to Australia, spend the whole week, and I can't get $100,000? What am I coming to do? But he said, I said, okay, I'm coming. He said, seed, I'm just coming to be a blessing. So that's all. I told them, I said, look, you guys, I'm not going to do that. Hello? The ticket to come here alone is about $20,000. Business class. So why am I going to be wasting my time jumping to Australia to go and do what? So you need to now get those professionals, and you know they will charge you per hour. So some of the questions you are asking, I will not answer. Yeah, so go and do that work and pay, because you are not paying. So
we have a question here that
the cheapest way. No, let's take him. He's been lifting his hand. Yeah, we need to get him. So now the cheapest way to get it is just go and get the book. That's the cheapest one. Now it's cheaper. Everything there is less than $500, so it's cheaper for you. Yes.
So what's your opinion of buying businesses cash down, no cash down?
Buying businesses or buying property?
Buying businesses, no cash down.
Buying businesses cash.
No cash down.
No cash down.
No cash down.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of business. So for instance, I advise people, one of the things I advise people to do, especially when you start the wealth creation network stuff I'm talking about, when you start wealth creation networks, 2 things I recommend for people to do is real estate and franchising. Real estate and franchising. Because what we have done all over the world is what we call fractional ownership. So right now, we buy properties. So we get 10 people together, $10,000. I'll buy $100,000 property, and they get $1,000 minimum every month. And they share among the 10 of them. So we've done that, lots of that. We do that right now. We do that regular. That's what one of the things I do. So, and then you can buy a franchise and own a restaurant and own chains of franchises as a group. And you don't even need to manage it. You are the owner and somebody else manages it. So you can buy businesses without any cash once you have that opportunity to do it. And the return from the business can pay for the business and give it that. You can do that.
So how do you deal with trust? How do you collaborate with people of different culture?
Legal documentation. That's all. I don't need to trust you. How many of you have bank accounts? Do you know the owner of the bank? Do you trust them? Why? Because there's a document, there's an insurance. That's why you do what you do. Do you know the owner of the... So everything you are doing that you call trust is because there is legality backing it up. So you don't really trust them. You trust the system. You trust the justice system. You trust the law. So anything you want to do with anybody, no matter the culture, legality. So when everybody comes together, get the lawyer, we all document our thoughts. We come up with an MOU. We come up with ethics, and they will say, okay, for instance, I give you an example. For the properties we buy that we do fractional ownership, because of my understanding of the taxation system, many of the people, because what I try to get people to do is to earn money in foreign currency in Nigeria. So we buy property. So they come together, 10 people, 9 people sometimes, and they put $10,000 together and we buy a house for them. And we have an agreement. Okay, this house, everybody's going to bring $10,000 together and we'll buy one house. If we want to buy the next house, you don't have to be part of it. So we are only tied together for this one house. And now, nobody can pull out. So you can't wake up tomorrow and say, I'm not doing it again. You insulted me. You didn't. There's no emotional sentiment here. You can't pull out. Except somebody else is replacing you. Because you can't mess up 9 people's life because you have lack of emotional intelligence. Hello? So all those things are documented. You guys say, I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. That's why you have lost your mind. Because you have given pieces of your mind to different people. So the laws are there. And then the law in that constitution states that we are not going to share the money that comes from that property until after 1 year. Why? Because if you know anything about real estate, boiler can spoil. And 3 months rent will have to go. Something can go wrong. So, and then you are going to pay insurance, you're going to pay taxes. So after we have collected rent for 12 months, we'll now remove tax, we'll remove insurance. Whatever is left, we'll now keep 20% of it again for emergency. It is the remaining we can share. So all those things are documented and it has never failed. Because it is so that's you know it's not about culture. It's about the law. So make sure there's a document everybody signs, everything is clear. Before you collect money from anybody, let the document be clear. Let there be full disclosure. So that nobody will wake up tomorrow and say I was not aware. So that's it.
There's a question here that is asking, with networking strategically, how can we be linked to some of these networks when they've got some, as Christians, without compromising our faith, because they have some practices that are not pure?
So you see, please listen and listen well. Many times we don't understand the power of our faith. And when I see Christians afraid of the devil, I'm wondering they should be afraid of you. Why are you not thinking that your presence will scare them? Why are you thinking that your presence will make them to pollute you? Why is that your thinking pattern? Why are you not, when light comes, darkness disappears? There is nothing called darkness. Darkness is the absence of light. You are in this world, but you are not of this world. So God wants you to have contact without contamination. So apart from the ones that are overtly demonic, if you are joining a group, there's a website, there's an application process. And once you see the application process and you see what you need to do to become a member, you will know whether there is compromise here or not. Most of what you are calling compromise is lack of understanding of the way the marketplace works. Why? You join a group and they meet in the club or they meet in the night. And then when they are serving people, now look at what we have now. we have water, we have fizzy drink, we have pizza. When you get there, there's alcohol, there's smoke, there's everything. Is that what you're calling compromise? That's not compromise. That's just life. They didn't put it in your mouth. They didn't force you to drink. You take water, you sit down, they are smoking, they are doing it also. You sit down there, you have your discussion, and you move on with your life. If you are so weak that sitting down with them will pollute you, your Christianity is not strong. Then you are never really, you don't even understand your Christianity. That means you are in the outer court. Hello? So look for the ones you can join that doesn't involve anything overtly evil, and then you're good to go. I mentioned chaplain. Even as a pastor, being a part of a chaplain does not mean that they are spiritual people. Hey, it doesn't mean that chaplains are spiritual. No. It's just a platform that you can use to leverage. Rotary doesn't mean you go to Rotary, but these are where you meet the people that really matter. So you need to look into your environment and know the different groups that exist and join.
How can we separate business, church, friends, and family?
Okay, please note, in every country, depending on the law of the land, as a church, there are some things you cannot do. So when you are a pastor, when I started it, I spoke about understanding your economic environment. You can have a church, and the church can have a business. And the business is registered as a business arm of the church. So the church will be tax exempt, but the business will pay taxes. Depending on, I don't know what kind of registration you guys have here, but I know you guys are close to the UK, in some of the way you operate. So in the UK, we have what we call the Charity Commission. And then you can either register your business as a business with guarantee or without guarantee, and then you can choose not to register with the Charity Commission. Because in the UK, when you register with the Charity Commission, then you get 28p for every £1 that you get from taxpayers. So many churches register with Charity Commission to get that money. But then when you do that, you come under the control of their law. But there are people that do what we call limited by guarantee. I don't know if that's what you guys are. So you don't operate under the Charity Commission system. You can do a lot of things. So as a church, as a pastor, get a lawyer to understand what I've just said now with reference to your environment. So that you have your, so for instance, let me use my example in Nigeria now. Because I have offices in different parts of the world. So I'm registered in the UK, I'm registered in America, I'm registered in Nigeria. So I am the overseer of a network of churches called the Truth of Calvary Ministries. We have branches all over the world. It's part of our network. So now, as the overseer of that church is a ministry. I'm the founder, I'm the overseer. I'm not the owner of the church. Do you understand? But now I have my own ministry. It's called Olumide Emmanuel Ministry. Under that ministry, my partnership is under. My books, my products are under. So because all my products, my training are under, I don't pay tax because I'm a ministry. Do you understand now? But I also now run a business called Common Sense Group. So I put all my books, all my training under the ministry. So when I go to the US to speak and I charge $10,000 for speaking, they don't give me the check. I tell them to pay it to my ministry. So it's not my money, it's ministry income. But who is the owner of the ministry? Me. So when I want to travel and I want to buy a ticket, I don't buy from my pocket. I buy from the ministry because I'm going on mission. Hello? So that's how you need to know which law that you are able to. So you have to separate ministry from business, from personal, from everything should separate. So your family, a lot of people run church as a family business. It's an error. You're going to end up in jail and end up in hell also. So, yeah, because you're a thief. So if you're a pastor of a church, you should earn a salary. The board of trustees of the church should be able to decide this is the pastor's income and these are the benefits of the pastor. So unlike business, the church can buy a house and your family lives in the house. It's called the vicarage. So in the church, as a pastor, the church can buy the house, buy the car, everything that a businessman enjoys. You are the CEO of that church. So they buy a house, but that house is bought in the name of the church, And then you and your family live in the house as the vicarage of the church because you are employed by the church. But the day you mess up, they will sack you and your family will be moved out of the house. And another pastor will come. Do you understand how that works? You know what happened to Hillsong and all these guys. So those are things that so just understand the way the system works and get professionals to guide you right.
How can you use your debt to create wealth? And this one goes with it. How can I know the best industry to invest for investment or investing?
Okay, so now there's good debt and there's bad debt. So when you have good debt, many of you have credit card, and if you know how to use the credit card, I tell people, so people say, no, you don't need a credit card. If I live in the Western world, I will have a credit card. Why? Because that's how they record your credit score. That's how they know whether you have. So even if you have the cash, don't use your cash. So if you have $500 in your account and you want to buy something of $350, instead of taking $350 cash to pay, use your credit card to pay. And at the end of the month, pay. So you will not be paying the interest on the credit card, but your credit score will be rising because you have never owed and your credit score will be high. You understand that? So don't use the credit card to build your credit score and pay it every month. And that's it. Even for your mortgage, they tell you no money down, 5% down, 20% down, da. But what you don't understand is this. The word mortgage is from the same word mortuary, mortician. Yeah, it's a grip of debt. So, but it's something that the capitalist system has put in place to help people. So what you need to do is to understand how to play the mortgage game. Don't ever sign for any mortgage that is all these 15, 20, 25 years. You are putting yourself in bondage. You know why? If there's any builder here, they will tell you. Every time you buy a property through the mortgage system, listen to this. By the time you finish paying, you have paid a minimum of 5 times of the cost of the building. Every time you buy a property through mortgage, the cost of the land plus the entire building is less than 40% of what they are selling the property to you. So 70% is already put on it. So it's better to actually buy and build and use your money or go into the real estate business as a corporation. And one thing you can do is instead of paying your mortgage every month, pay it every 2 weeks. If you pay your mortgage every 2 weeks, you will now realize that we have more than 12 months in a year. Many of you don't know that a year is more than 12 months. So if you pay it every 2 weeks, you'll be paying 13 to 14 months in a year. Because there are 4 months in a year that have 5 weeks. And that reduces your years by between 3 to 5 years. Add an extra $100 to $300 to your mortgage every month. And you reduce it by another 3 to 5 years. So you can pay off your mortgage in 10 years. If you just apply these 2 principles. So there is so much that can be spoken about. But they are not counseling issue, they are consultancy issue. So where do you invest? When you have money, invest in things that can produce income. Invest in money markets. So look into your country, check the treasury bills, check bonds, check stocks, check fixed deposit, check the income if it works with you with reference to the inflation rate of your country. Then check real estate. And for most of you now, I'm seeing a lot of phones now. I'm seeing Apple. I'm seeing Samsung. Do you have shares in Apple? Do you have shares in Samsung? Many of you are on Facebook. Do you have shares on Facebook? You use Google. Do you have shares on Google? You do Zoom. Do you have shares on Zoom? So buy shares of the companies that are doing amazingly well. And then invest in real estate. So even if you can't do it on your own, come together, do fractional ownership. And 10 of you can co-own a property. And you can co-own a franchise. So those are different things you can invest into. And if you have any skill or any expertise, you can invest in yourself. So I've written books. I have different curriculums. I have different courses. I invest in myself. I have a studio. I have all kinds of things I do. So because I'm an author, I set up a publishing company. I set up a printing press. It's called backward integration. Because I travel a lot, I set up a travel and tour company. So every year I help people to travel, operate visas for people. He started that with us before he left. And so there's so much you can do. And you'll be amazed. Because I know a lot of people have marital problems. Right now, if I just today alone, I've gotten 4 people that want me to take them through a marital process. They are ready to pay, but I don't have the time. I have right now over 200 people on my waiting list that wants to pay, but I don't have the time for them. And I say, I want to recommend. They say, it's you we want. We're going to wait. What are they listening to? It's just because I went for courses, and there's so much that can be done. So invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge, invest in your skill, and you'll be amazed at how far you can go.
Pastor Tammy.
Thank you so much, sir, for the information. There is a scenario that I really want to tell you about the investment.
Okay.
That we got a couple of friends together and just advise, put money together to invest. And amongst those people, there are a few of them that got people back in Nigeria, and some of them really believe that many of them believe that investment turnover is very quick in Nigeria and it's good, and went into that business and everything commenced because we had to use one of the partners' brother who is a certified builder and all that in Nigeria, and everything went down. So the whole investment is gone down the drain. Now the friendship is all scattered. So what advice would you give? Is it to invest where you live or to invest where you presume the interest rate or the investment will turn around with very good?
Okay, so part of the documentation that you need to have is to understand that when you talk of investment, there's what we call the 2 R's of investment. Investment is risk and return. There is no risk-free investment anywhere in the world. Not one. So anyone going into a business, lawyers will tell you that. So we say to people in law that whenever you are doing business with anybody, let your mind already be in court. Because the people that come to the pulpit to say I do are the people that will end up in divorce courts with irreconcilable difference. And there are no irreconcilable difference, only irreconcilable people. So when everything is documented, if this money is lost, what do we do? So all those things will have been documented. Now to go to your question or to your specific. I cannot tell you invest in Australia, invest in Nigeria. It's your choice. I can tell you for free that in Nigeria today, if you invest in real estate, you will make more money than anywhere in the world. But if you are in Australia, the Nigerian currency is not a very reliable currency. So even if you do 100% return, by the time you change it back to Australian dollar, you have lost money. Do you understand? So when people ask me, should I invest in Nigeria? In fact, let me give you a example. If somebody comes to me now and say, I would like to invest, what should I invest into? As a financial consultant, I have to ask you 5 questions before I can answer, because I do customize. Number 1, what is your investment goal? Why do you want to invest? Are you investing just to have an asset? Are you investing for cash flow? Are you investing for your retirement? I need to know. Number 2, how much do you have to invest? Number 3, what is your risk appetite? How risky do you want to go? Because the lower the risk, the lower the return. Number 4, how long do you have? Number 5, what is the source of the money? When I ask you all those questions, it will help me to give you an answer. So if I'm to answer your question now, if you are from Nigeria, I will advise you at least you should have 2 properties in Nigeria. At least 2, just because you are in Nigeria. When God created you and gave birth to you in Nigeria, He didn't make a mistake. There is a portion of Nigeria that belongs to you. Not to take it is to leave money on the table. God forbid that Ukraine war happens in Australia. There are people that never believe that COVID will come. If you don't learn from COVID, you might never learn. So what if something happens and they say everybody should go back to their town? Where will you go to? Hello? God forbid. There are people that have spent 30 years in the Western world and they had to run away because they got into trouble that they were not guilty of, but it was either jail or run. and now they run back to Africa, nothing. So you must have at least 2 houses. Number 2, if you have people in Nigeria that are always calling you for money, you see, have people in Nigeria that are dependent on you, then you need to have property in Nigeria. Why? So that when they call on you, you don't need to be stressed. The rent and the income will already be there for you to just do a transfer and settle all the mosquitoes. Do you understand the way that was? So those are some of the things you need to have at the back of your mind. So I will advise you, stop looking at Nigeria the way it was. Technology has advanced a lot of things. As I'm standing here right now, we have short-let apartments. Right on my phone right now, I can connect to the internet and I will know where all my cars are. We have short-let apartment. I can go online now and check whether there is somebody living in that house. I can check on the CCTV now, all the properties in Nigeria. I can check where my wife is right now. I can check where all my cars are right now, right on this phone, anywhere in the world. So you can own properties in Nigeria and manage it as short-let and service apartments. And from here, you will give them the code to enter the house. The door will not be open until you press it from here. These are technology. The Nigeria is not old school. I don't know when you left. Nigeria has gone far. So I will advise you to consider that. So all you need to do is to answer those questions and deal with people that are reputable. So if you want to do anything real estate in Nigeria, can help you. Whether it's buying land, buying houses, managing the houses, building, construction, I can help you with all that. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Does usury ever raise his hand in your walk? Usury.
Okay, usually, okay.
Usury, and I'm also interested in what's open my view, my plans for my future, to use herbalism as a mission, Christian mission, to the healthcare industry, to the lost in the industry.
Okay, so now the Bible speaks against usury. And that means when you are collecting money from people and charging them exorbitant, rates. So in the financial market, things are regulated. So we have what we call the fiscal policy and monetary policy. You have central banks of different countries that regulate the rate of interest. So they can increase interest. So whenever you are doing anything in the money market, there is a window within which you can operate. Once you go outside of that window, then you get into what is usually so. So that's the way that works. And then when you have a passion to do anything, whether it's ministry, reaching out to the poor, reaching out to the less privileged, you need to understand that there has to be a system and structure in place for sustainability. Because it's not just to start, you should be able to sustain it. So before you start, don't just be so passionate, I want to take care of poor people. You can end up being poor. So if you are planning to take care of poor people, how will you take care of them? Where will the money for taking care of them come from? How will you sustain them? Because taking care of poor people means you want to empower them. And empowerment is not giving them food because they will be coming forever. So you need to be able to empower them with something that will make them to start earning on their own without having to depend on you.
We have one more question.
So everybody's listening. We should start charging now. $100 per question.
Thank you, Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. That's really been good. This is actually one of my areas. I also operate in the marketplace and all of that, and I probably listen to you as well. Not the common sense approach. But my question is, somebody talked about the, if you're in a networking group where there seems to be, lack of equity and all of that. I want to say that there's some networking groups that are actually Christian networking groups. So some of us are part of that. So it's just good to say, you're right, there's a Babylonian system, there's also a kingdom system. But there's some right here in Australia that are Christian based, and that's we're going to join the BNI, it's also very good, it's the biggest in the world. So having said that, I just wanted to share some light. I think it will help a lot of us. The Bible says that we should be wise as disciples, and be meek as a dove. Most of us lean towards one side of the spectrum, in the sense that we're too meek than we are wise. I think we touched on it. We're praying all the time from Africa. We're binding it. We're all of that stuff. This one must die, that one must live. And some people start in there and they're like, oh God, you have to do this. But I know that there is a distinction between the principles of Christ and the personhood of Christ. And I would like if you can touch on that. That would like to a lot of people who believe that, okay, as Christians, you only need to pray all the time and to go. Thank you.
God is the creator of all and the savior of some. So everyone on earth is created by God, but not everyone is redeemed, even though the price has been paid. As a creator, in order to perpetuate and sustain his creation, he put principles in place. Principles have nothing to do with redemption. So whether you are saved or not, whether you are an atheist or not, the rain will fall on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you breathe in, you will breathe out. If you plant corn, it will grow. It has nothing to do with redemption. So the principles of Jesus are the principles that the Creator has put in place for success, sustenance on this earth. And whether you are born again or not, if you apply it, it will work for you. But the problem is that because we don't understand, when we now get born again and we embrace the person of Jesus, we now think that the person of Jesus will give us everything we need. And the Bible never said that. So when Jesus was on earth, he was a physical human being. He was in one place at a time. And everywhere he went, he was preaching, teaching, and healing. Those things he was preaching and teaching are the principles. Sermon on the Mount, parables, those are the principles. He was teaching the principles of delegation, the principles of investment, the principles of plan. Which of you intending to build a tower will not first of all sit down and count the cost. All these are all principles of Jesus. Now, when you get born again and receive the person of Jesus, it guarantees your peace and your eternity. But if you are going to succeed here on earth, it's the principles that will make you succeed. So what has happened is that the church has embraced the person of Jesus, but we have rejected the principles of Jesus. So we are going through hell on the way to heaven. And the world has embraced the principles of Jesus, and they have rejected this person. So they are going through heaven on earth on their way to hell. But what you need to do is to embrace the person plus the principle. So when you are a Christian, for every aspect of life, there are principles that determine whether it will succeed. So if you are a Christian and you are a student, the principles of examination success is not prayer. It's being studious. It's attending lectures. It's understanding the lecture. It's preparing for exam. And it's sitting for the exam. What does prayer do? Prayer supports you to do what needs to be done. The supernatural is a combination of super plus natural. The super will remain super without the natural. The natural will remain natural without the super. So for you to succeed in any aspect of life, you must identify the principle. Marriage, whether you are born again or not, does not determine marital success. Success in marriage is not a function of redemption. It's a function of the application of principles of relational success. In finances, you don't succeed in finances because you are prayerful. I cannot pray for you to become a pilot. You have to go to school. So I can't pray for you to prosper. I can't lay hands on you and pour oil on you and say it's the anointing for prosperity. It will not work. Why? Because you don't anoint people to prosper. You anoint people to do what they need to do to prosper. So when I anoint you, the anointing will help you to save. So many times when you are praying that God should give you $10,000, if you save 1,000 every month, in 10 months your prayer will be answered. So when you look at the Bible calls it the working of miracles. There is a work. That's why faith without work is dead. So if you're a business person, it says be wise as a serpent. What is the wisdom of the serpent? I think I still said it this morning or yesterday. There's a wisdom of the serpent. And I did a series on that, part 1 to 3, in the wisdom of the serpent. So you study the wisdom of the serpent and you apply it in the marketplace. So when you go into the market, you need to understand the leaven and how to blend into the system and the culture. And that's how you start. So you need to find out what works in the secret court and in the secret place. So if you go into the marketplace, you are either in the secret court or you are in the secret place. And you need to understand the way these things work in the market. So I don't know, but I think that does it because of time. Yeah.
Just wanted to ask a question, sir, relating to something you mentioned in the morning about old wine, new wine, old skin. There's something called exchange traded funds, ETFs. And in terms of cryptocurrency, I just wanted to know where you stand, sir, because the generation now, they're very savvy when it comes to cryptocurrency. But older generation, they're thinking, no, don't do that, don't do that. Many years, I think 10 years ago, it was really bad. In the last few months, there's been the US Federal Reserve are beginning to bring out something called Bitcoin ETFs, and people are starting to adopt it. So I just wanted to know your take on that.
Okay, cryptocurrency is the currency of the future. So cryptocurrency is real, and it's something that will be relevant going forward. But majority of the crypto platforms are fraud. Many of them are fraudulent, they are fake. So for you to go into cryptocurrency, you need to spend time to study and understand it, then you go into it. So for people of my own generation, I believe in crypto, I believe in forex, but I don't invest my money in that because I've discovered what works. So I do real estate. It has not failed me. And there's never going to be AI or technology that will replace people needing a place to stay. So I don't need to, you cannot be so sophisticated that you won't need a roof over your head. So I've discovered that real estate is the real investment. So I sit down with real estate. So all these crypto nights, no problem, it's good. But I don't do it. Not because it's not genuine, because I'm not interested. Already I was working for me. What am I looking for? So let me just continue my winning formula. But for younger people, they can try it because see, there are things we also tried that made us to learn. So they can try. If you start, you put your money in crypto and it's lost. By the time you start investing at 25, maybe at 28, you lose the money. You cry for 1 year. You start afresh again. By 32, you lose the money. You cry again. At least by the time you lose 2, 3, 4 times, you wake up and wise up. You are still alive. But for somebody of my age, it can lead to high blood pressure, hypertension, stroke, and death. So
We don't have much time fair. However, there are many of you now who are putting up your hands to ask questions. And I'm going to do something that maybe some of you will be upset with me for the night. But we will love each other because I need to collaborate with you so that we can do business. However, I will ask Doctor to just probably, if you have a question, quickly ask it and he will give you a snippet because remember he said there is no voice without invoice. So now, from now on, it's now invoice time. It's now invoice time. You agree with me? Beautiful. So the quick question and the doctor will just give a quick answer.
Oh, yeah.
Because no
quick question. So what's the question? Straight.
The question is if you are such a network.
Okay.
And then some of those network places, like a Christian, so I'm one or two. I'm just about to exit that group.
Why do you want to exit?
One, a lot of gay people, like the secretary is a gay.
So what's your business with that?
And then the last time I went to the meeting, because they know I'm Christian.
Okay.
This is our Bible.
Okay.
It's different from your own Bible.
Okay. But that's not a church. It's not a church. You didn't go to church. So why are you expecting them to behave like church? It's like going to a restaurant and expecting praise and worship. You went to a restaurant to eat. You went there to network. What's your business whether a man is kissing him? But that's his life. Let him live his life and face his consequence. Face what you went there for. You didn't go there for Bible study. It's not house fellowship. Yes, ma'am. Same question. Okay.
Thank you so much for all that you shared. We really have learned a lot. I'm a woman of a certain age, over a certain age. I really would love if you already have the network and the system put in place. So when you talk about people coming together and doing group wealth building, you have already set up the system. I really would love if you can plug us into the system. Instead of me going around
trying to draw some documents and all that. Can you please give us a way? I know you've given us at this point. This is high level. Is there a place for people to start with those groups?
For those groups that I am involved in, the minimum is $10,000. So, and it's for real estate in America. So, I think the one that we are doing now, we still have slot for 5 people. So if 5 people come, so what we do is $10,000. The minimum we do is 80,000 American dollars. Yeah, the minimum we do is 80,000 because we are buying properties in Detroit. Detroit went bankrupt years ago, so we have over 42 properties there. So we do more of Detroit because you can get properties of 80, 90, 100,000. So we play within 80,000 and above. So the one we are doing right now is $80,000. So 3 people have paid 30,000. So we are waiting for 5 more people to pay. So once the 8 people is complete, you wait for 90 days because we now go bid for the property, buy the property, renovate, do insurance, do quit claim deed, and then we'll put the tenants in there. So the way it works is the rent will be minimum of $1,000 a month. And then the agent will collect his own percentage, and then we do it for 1 year. So if you're interested, that's minimum of $10,000 that we can plug in. So sometimes, depending on when you enter, that's what determines how much. So for instance, now people have paid 30,000 now, and their money is just sitting down there. We can't do anything until it's up to 80. So until we have 5 more people, so those are the problem that you can have because of what we are doing. So that's the only one that I can talk to or speak to now, because I really don't have the time to run where people are paying monthly but this one we know it's just one. Once we've done the house, we hand over. You'll be getting your rent. It's you and the agent every month, and that's so that's what we do. Yeah.
2 more questions.
Okay.
My question is, in the ministry,
Ministry as in church ministry. Okay.
yeah, well, it's 7 out of church. For example, you're 7 when you're working in the ministry outside, in your work area, where you're working with people from the ministry. How can we separate that? Because they're expecting as a 7, when they come to the workplace, you mentioned because they have a relationship with you in church, they're expecting for you to compromise. And you don't want to compromise. So, and they're looking, oh, is she not this person? Is she not that person? How can we separate ourselves from them? That if I'm working, I'm working. I don't want to do church at work. I want to be the boss. So how can we do that without them feeling that you're being proud, you're being arrogant, or you're thinking you're too good?
Okay. So I want us to break down the word compromise, because compromise is not necessarily a bad word. So I need to understand what you mean by compromise. So if you are saying compromise with reference to doing something illegal, doing something, but if you are talking of compromise with reference to special favors, then there's nothing wrong. Yeah. As long as the special favor is not contrary to professionalism and the policies and the ethics of the profession, then there's nothing wrong. The Bible says, do good to all men, especially to those of the household of faith. That's why I have you there. You're my sister. So what's the benefit of having you as my sister? But I'm not going to tell you to change figures. I'm not going to tell you to say I'm present when I'm absent. But if my son is having a program in school and is making a presentation, and I'm asking for 2 hours to quickly run and come, because you are my sister, you know that family is important to me, even though it's not my leave period, you can give me that. Because we have a relationship. Do you understand? So we need to define what the compromise is. Because sometimes you can think you are principled, but what's now the benefit of the relationship? Do you understand now? So that's because what you have said now causes trouble even in marriage, where spouses don't realize that, yes, you are my spouse, that's why I'm asking. Because, yeah, I should get benefit because my wife is husband. So that's it.
Our last question for the night.
Thank you so much. Just wanted to ask, what criteria should I consider in trying to understand the business of my career?
Okay. So when you are in any career, you work to learn. So once you enter, all you are looking for is learning. How does this thing work? How was it set up? How did they develop products? How did they get customers? How did they price? How do they pay our salary? How do they do the markup? You are learning. And where is the business here? So you are learning. Who are our vendors? Who are our stakeholders? Who are the people we pay money to? Why are they? So you are beginning to see. So if you are in an industry, for instance, now, and you realize that in your company, you guys are spending like 800,000 in a year paying for logistics. That means in that business, there's logistic business. I can start logistics and be the one collecting the 800,000. Your salary in a year is 60,000, but you are paying another person 800,000 because they have a logistic company. If I own a logistic company, because I have the experience of having worked in the business, I have a leverage of getting the business. Are you getting that now? You sit down in the company, you realize that, okay, I'm a medical doctor, but every year we use gloves, we use face mask, we use syringes, and I'm like, okay, I can actually start producing gloves. I can start importing gloves because that's a business in that place. And you start supplying, you see medical equipment. So that's how you think. You are learning how things work to look at where the money is going and coming, and you position yourself. That's it.
Thank you for taking time to watch this video. We believe you've learned something of great value. On this channel, we share videos on finances and wealth creation from biblical perspective. You can find more similar videos on this channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Let us know what you've learned in the comment section.